DFW FCA's Faith in Sports. I'm Chris Schneider. Welcome to the DFW Fellowship of Christian Athletes weekly radio show, Faith in Sports, brought to you by the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic. Sonny will be joined by fellow Ranger greats Pudge Rodriguez, Tom Grieve, and Mark McLemore for a great luncheon and day of golf. Go to dfwfca.org for all the details. Well, if you hadn't noticed, it's been kind of a strange golf season. The reason for that, the Olympics. That's right, golf is an Olympic sport this year, so to make accommodations, the PGA Tour has moved a lot of its events around. Now, all four of the major tournaments are already in the books, and we will be joined by a couple of the golfers on tour today. In a few minutes, we will hear from former Tour Rookie of the Year Jonathan Byrd, and then five-time tournament winner Mark Wilson.
It's a great model, obviously, the game of golf and towards life. He puts those in there in the Bible for us, and he says that if we do obey him, he's going to bless us, and I always keep that in mind. But I'm grateful that he's given us that free will. I guess it really ended up being through, Adam and Eve sinning, that we all are sinners, and we've all got that free will to choose, and we can choose to follow him or we can choose to disobey him.
More from pro golfer Mark Wilson coming up in just a few minutes. Also joining us on the show today is Texas Rangers Hall of Fame catcher Jim Sundberg, a great friend of the DFW FCA. He'll have this week's 50th anniversary classic moment.
When I came to Arlington to play for the Rangers, when I got introduced to Staubach and Tom Landry and Bob Brunig and that group of guys, they were heavily involved in FCA, and it was from that influence of those guys with the Cowboys that got me connected with the work that FCA was doing in this area. And, because of Tom Landry, we've had such a strong FCA base here for years and years and years, even after, he's gone.
More from Ranger Hall of Famer Jim Sundberg in just a bit. We'll also hear throughout the show about Jim's upcoming golf tournament. Also joining us on the show today, FCA's Northeast Texas Area Director, Robert Barden. He'll tell us what's going on in his area of ministry.
We just finished up what is, for us, the marquee event for the summer, which is the Heart of a Champion All-Star Games, plural now.
What is that all about?
6 years ago, we started off with an all-star football game, and so graduated seniors from the 14 counties, 15 counties in Northeast Texas that we serve, and 100 football players and a staff of 16 coaches. And we have now grown to a football game, softball game, which started last year, and this year we added baseball.
And this is an FCA event, right?
It's all done through FCA. And so the real key of the week is, we want to present Christ to these all-stars, and then we top it off with a game at the end of the week.
More from DFW FCA's Robert Barden later this half hour. Now, if you are, or if you would like to be, an FCA Huddle coach or sponsor, be sure to join us next Sunday, August 14th, for a free FCA North Texas Huddle Coach Sponsor Inspo Training event. Former Dallas Cowboy Chad Hennings will be speaking, along with Carolyn Allen, the wife of Highland Park coach Randy Allen. It's great encouragement and training. It's for men and women, coaches and spouses. Info and registration, go to dfwfca.org, and remember that the deadline is coming up August 10th. All right, now our first special guest on the show today is a member of golf's PGA Tour. In fact, Jonathan Byrd was the 2002 PGA Rookie of the Year. He's won 5 tournaments. More important than all that to Jonathan is his faith in Jesus Christ. He sees being on the most prestigious golf circuit in the world as a great platform to share his faith.
Absolutely. I think wherever you are, whatever you do, whatever job you have, God's given everybody some form of platform. I feel like mine is a little more in the public eye, fortunately and unfortunately, sometimes when I don't act accordingly. But golf, I get to meet people. I get to meet people in Pro-Ams every week. I get to meet new people in new towns. Fans from different tournaments come out and watch us play. And I also just get to meet, new people through the tournament, and then travel with our players out on tour and wives and get to make good friendships that way.
I'm always amazed about the sport of golf, and it's so different from a lot of the other team sports. I mean, you're on your own. It's you and only you out there, and just the ups and downs of so many guys trying to win, and there's only one winner each week. And you talk about really the ups and downs of golf and how your faith in Christ really helps you through those difficult times.
Well, you're right. Golf is. I think every sport is cyclical. It's got its highs and its lows. But golf just seems to be a little more difficult. How we play, we got to go out and earn our paycheck every week. I was in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and one of my buddies who plays baseball came out, and he watched me play that week, and I did not play well, and I didn't earn a check. And he saw all the effort that went into that week, and I didn't get anything out of it. And that can be discouraging or disappointing for me. And he was going, man, this is tough, because whether he gets injured or plays well or plays poorly, he still gets paid the same amount.
Yeah.
And I think that part of golf makes it more difficult. It makes the highs a little higher and it makes the lows a little bit lower, because we want to go out there, we want to play well, we want to win, but, we want to get high on the money list and do well. And, my relationship with God makes the highs and the lows, it helps me have peace through that time. I've talked to people about last year. Last year was a difficult year for me. I didn't play particularly well, but I won a tournament, the John Deere Classic. And the 4 weeks prior to that tournament, I missed 4 cuts in a row.
Wow.
And through those 4 weeks, I had peace. I was enjoying my work. I was enjoying some progress in my game, but I was not playing well. I was missing cuts. And then the next week comes and I win. And I was able to share with people that I thank God for the peace I had in the 4 weeks where I didn't play well, and in the 1 week where I won. And God's an awesome God, and He's there for us in both times. I have a golf psychologist who helps me think more clearly on the golf course to hopefully play better. And he always says, the whole modern golf psychology comes out of Philippians. The whole idea of do not be anxious for anything, but pray about everything, and God will give you peace. And that surpasses all understanding. And there's many times on the golf course that I don't have peace. I'm in turmoil because things aren't going my way, and God calls me to pray, and He'll give me peace. And in my spiritual life, I pray for peace and ask for God for whatever I wish, and on the golf course the same way. So that really helps my golf game.
Former PGA Rookie of the Year, Jonathan Byrd. Thank you, Jonathan. We'll be joined by another pro golfer next, 5-time tournament winner Mark Wilson. Jim Sundberg will bring us this week's 50th Anniversary Classic moment a bit later on as well. And remember, as always, we would love to hear from you. Let's connect. You can find us on Facebook at DFW FCA, and you can find us on Twitter at FCA DFW. Of course, our website is dfwfca.org. This is the DFW Fellowship of Christian Athletes weekly radio show, Faith in Sports, brought to you by the JSGC, the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic.
Did you ever imagine you'd be invited to a dinner with Roger Staubach, Bob Lilly, Dan Reeves, and Bob Brunig? With God, anything is possible, right? The DFW Fellowship of Christian Athletes invites you to join them for their 50th anniversary celebration dinner at the Irving Convention Center. Early bird tickets are on sale now, and tickets go fast, so go to dfwfca.org to make sure you've got a seat. It'll be a night of fantastic cowboy stories, trips to the Super Bowl, playing for Tom Landry, serving Christ, and the joy of touching lives with the FCA. Knock something big off your bucket list by having dinner with Staubach, Lilly, Reeves, and Brunig. Go to dfwfca.org for all the details.
DFW FCA invites you to join us for the annual Jim Sundberg Golf Classic at the Trophy Club Country Club. Do I have to be a good golfer to get out there on the links with you, Sonny?
Not really. Obviously, to be able to move the ball a little bit beyond a couple of the other tee boxes is important. But it's just kind of a good time of fellowship. We got some great food, some amazing gifts for it, and it's just a great environment to have a good time of playing golf in.
Join Pudge Rodriguez, Tom Grieve, and Mark McLemore at the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic, October 3rd. Registration and information at dfwfca.org.
Situated on 330 acres of beautiful natural landscape with facilities to accommodate groups up to 1,000, Lakeview Camp and Retreat Center is the ideal place to schedule your next event. Whatever your group's goals are, Lakeview aims to meet your needs, providing year-round service facilities for retreats, conferences, camps, corporate meetings, outdoor education outings, school events, and family gatherings. Our friendly staff is committed to making your stay a great experience. Come to Lakeview Camp and Retreat Center and enjoy state-of-the-art facilities, activities that engage and rejuvenate, comfortable lodging, and great food in a setting that inspires the awe of the greatness of God. To learn more about this scenic location for your next event, visit us online today.
For more information, visit lakeviewcamp.net.
Her goal?
To shoot par.
Our goal? To keep her on course. While she prepares for her shot, we prepare her for life. By helping her pursue honorable ambitions, she will stay on course. Join the Fellowship of Christian Athletes as we strive to put the heart and soul in sports by impacting the world for Jesus Christ. To learn more, contact us at fca.org. That's fca.org.
Welcome back to DFW FCA's Faith in Sports, brought to you by the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic at the Trophy Club Country Club. We will hear from pro golfer Mark Wilson in just a moment. Texas Rangers Hall of Fame catcher Jim Sundberg brings us this week's classic moment a little later on this half hour. Now, is God calling you to serve alongside a middle school or a high school coach in your hometown? DFW FCA is excited to announce our character coaching initiative. Training for those interested is coming up. It's August 22nd. Go to dfwfca.org and get all the information. We're featuring pro golfers here on Faith in Sports today. We heard from former PGA Tour Rookie of the Year Jonathan Byrd a few minutes ago, and now we're joined by another five-time tourney winner. It is Mark Wilson. Mark, you won one of those tournaments despite having a penalty called on your caddy. Now, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation where in the rules of golf, you're not allowed to give advice to a fellow competitor, or caddies can't do that, fellow competitors. And on one par three, my caddy, I had hit, and then we heard the guys behind us talking, another player, to his caddy going, "What was that?" Because I had hit a hybrid, and he was kind of trying to figure out, is that a 2-iron, 3-iron? What kind of club is that? And my caddy just kind of turned around and told him it was an 18 degree. And now at that point, I'm like, was that advice really in the sense of, he didn't just say, hey, that was a 5-iron, something like that. So we called the rules official over, and I asked them, and they checked on it, and unfortunately, yes, that was considered advice, just on us, because the guy that we were playing with was not asking us. He was just kind of talking amongst, hit with his caddy, and so it was 2 strokes, and to that score on that hole, and that was on Friday. And no one knew about it at all, because I in my career, I've kind of gone below the radar, so to speak, and all of a sudden on Sunday night, when I tied for the lead and the playoff was going to go into Monday, the Golf Channel broke the news that had happened, and they made a big deal about it. And the next day, I went out and birdied the second playoff hole to win the tournament. As I felt bad for my caddy because he was in kind of a tough situation there, and he made a mistake, and he knew he did. Like I said, normally it just kind of goes unnoticed, but in this case, since I won, it went very noticed, and people gave him a hard time for it, and he even had a few hecklers the next few weeks. But I tried to spin it positively and, look at it as, hey, he does so much good for me on the bag. I forgave him for that error, and we moved on, and I looked at it as a positive and something to overcome. And, if we accept Jesus' forgiveness for our sins, we try to model ourselves after him, and it's like, if you don't lead your life that way, then you're kind of a hypocrite. So I was happy that, in that tough situation, I chose the high road. And looking back, I was like, wow, I'm glad I did forgive him, because it would have been very easy to fire him on the spot. And I think a lot of other guys might have done that. I might even have done that, in a certain situation. But thankfully, I forgave him, and we moved on. And it was one of the highlights of my career, if not the highlight.
We're talking with pro golfer Mark Wilson, a 5-time winner on the tour. Now, Mark, as we've been talking about, golf is still a sport where sportsmanship and playing by the rules means something.
Yeah, very much so, and you learn it at an early age from my parents, as they taught me golf and how you follow the rules. And grew up in Wisconsin, and the courses weren't in real good shape in the spring, and the clubs would always play winter rules, but I didn't really like to roll it in the fairway. I was like, it feels like cheating. So And I think maybe that helps me play out of divots maybe today better. I don't know, but my dad instilled that in me at an early age, and I got to know the rules. And early in my career, I be honest with you, I struggled with them quite a bit, where I almost got to the point where it distracted me too much. Like I was always worried about my ball moving on the green or this or that, and did I make a mistake when I took that drop from the cart path? And so that was kind of a hurdle I had to overcome and not keep second-guessing myself, more living in the moment, making sure I did the right thing at that time and then move on. But, yeah, in golf, we have rules officials out there that help us, but you're really the only one that would see a ball move in the rough or on the green, like happened to Ryan Palmer at a recent tournament, and he called it on himself, and lo and behold, he actually won the tournament too. All the guys on tour do it from time to time, and it's a great model, obviously, the game of golf and towards life. He puts those in there in the Bible for us, and he says that if we do obey him, he's going to bless us, and I always keep that in mind. But I'm grateful that he's given us that free will. I guess it really ended up being through, Adam and Eve sinning, that we all are sinners, and we've all got that free will to choose, and we can choose to follow him or we can choose to disobey him, and obviously we all sin every day of our lives, but we know it's wrong, and maybe that's the difference. And every day, I pray that I'm going to choose to follow him and go about my life that way.
5-time PGA Tournament winner Mark Wilson. Thank you, Mark. Coming up next, we'll hear from FCA's Northeast Texas Area Director, Robert Barden, and Texas Ranger great Jim Sundberg will bring us our 50th Anniversary Classic moment. Hey, remember, you can look great and help support DFW FCA at the same time. Check out our 50th Anniversary gear, great gifts, great clothing, great everything, at dfwfca.org. Look for the FCA store. This is the DFW Fellowship of Christian Athletes weekly radio show, Faith in Sports, brought to you by the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic.
How about a day of fun on the golf course with Texas Rangers legends Jim Sundberg, Pudge Rodriguez, Tom Grieve, and Mark McLemore? You're invited to join us for the annual Jim Sundberg Golf Classic at the Trophy Club Country Club October 3rd. Sonny will lead the luncheon program, interviewing the panel of Ranger greats while you enjoy a great lunch, and then it's out to the golf course. There will be great raffle prizes and live auction items, so come help us touch lives for Christ and have a great time too. Go to dfwfca.org for details on how you can join us for the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic.
I tell students if they can sweat, they can be a part of FCA, and everybody can sweat, so all are welcome.
FCA has taught me how to lead. It's taught me how to be a leader. It's taught me how to present myself and how to live a life full of character, both on and off the field.
I can't think of any other scenario where you can see people from such diverse backgrounds able to connect in a way that we can connect at FCA.
Being around other kids who also love God the same, because you get to see, wow, they love God too, and they've been through what I've been through, so wow, I can relate to that.
FCA teaches you to put Christ and others before yourself.
Just to know that, yeah, you can be an athlete and that can be what you do, but it's not your identity.
As you can see, it has greatly impacted me personally and spiritually, and will always be part of my story.
In 1966, Coach Tom Landry had the inspiration to start the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in Dallas. This year, Dallas-Fort Worth FCA is celebrating God's amazing impact on coaches and athletes during our 50th anniversary. Over 16,000 students and athletes are involved with FCA in North Texas. Nearly 500 coaches and teachers volunteer their time to influence student athletes. Visit dfwfca.org for more information, including how you can pick up some one-of-a-kind 50th anniversary products like caps, shirts, coffee mugs, and more.
There is a common place for student athletes and coaches to go to strengthen their faith in Christ.
At my FCA huddle.
There's a place to be encouraged to face the trials and temptations of life.
At my FCA huddle.
There is a place to receive confidence to share the light of Christ.
At my FCA huddle.
FCA huddles meet on junior high, high school, and college campuses all across America. To find one near you or to learn how to start one up, call toll-free 866-STV-5031 or go to FCA.org.
I'm Chris Schneider. Welcome back to DFW FCA's Faith in Sports, brought to you by the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic. How would you like to move it with your friends and family? Join us at the Chick-fil-A Connect Race Series. Proceeds from the race will benefit the mission of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It's going to be September 10th, 8 in the morning at the Keller Town Center. You can go to dfwfca.org to get all the information and to get registered. Joining us here on Faith in Sports now is DFW FCA's Northeast Texas Area Director, Robert Byrd. So, Robert, welcome to the show. What's going on over there in Northeast Texas?
We just finished up what is, for us, the marquee event for the summer, which is the Heart of a Champion All-Star Games, plural now.
What is that all about?
6 years ago, we started off with an all-star football game, and so graduated seniors from the 14 counties, 15 counties in Northeast Texas that we serve, and 100 football players and a staff of 16 coaches. And we have now grown to a football game, softball game, which started last year, and this year we added baseball.
So, and this is an FCA event, right?
It's all done through FCA. And so the real key of the week is, man, we want to present Christ to these all-stars, and then we top it off with a game at the end of the week.
So it's special for them in many ways. Number one, they're all-stars, but they get the chance to know Christ for the rest of their lives.
They do. And we have some good talent in East Texas in all three of those sports, and that's what I love about it. The coaching staffs that we put together, they really seek to win the game. And so when they draft players, and it's just like an NFL draft or a baseball draft, I mean, they select the kids they want. And so to get to the game, they're striving to win, but all throughout the week they're showing these guys and girls Christ.
So how are things going in your schools? Are you staying busy? A lot of huddle meetings and a lot of things happening?
The spring really finished off well for us, and I think it's just going to give us momentum for this coming school year. We have about 6 to 8 new campuses that want to get FCA started, so we're going to spend this time this summer getting together with coaches, mapping all of that out for them. One of the highlights is always just when we see kids come to Christ, and one of our middle schools in the Longview area, that was how they finished off. The last 2 meetings that they did, they had 3 kids come to Christ, and then they went and served at a shelter there in Longview.
And if they want to get in touch with you again, how do they do that?
Email rbardin, B-A-R-D-I-N, at fca.org.
That is DFW FCA's Northeast Texas Area Director, Robert Byrd. Thank you, Robert. It is time now for DFW FCA's 50th Anniversary Classic Moment. Texas Ranger Hall of Famer Jim Sundberg is a wonderful friend of the DFW FCA. In fact, he hosts a golf tournament that raises proceeds for FCA in October. So, Jim, how did you get involved with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes?
Actually, FCA, I'm kind of jealous to a certain degree that I never had it growing up as a kid because it didn't have any access to it in Illinois, and predominantly because of summer camps, baseball players weren't familiar with it. More for football guys. And so when I came to Arlington to play for the Rangers, when I got introduced to Staubach and Tom Landry and Bob Brunig and that group of guys, they were heavily involved in FCA, and it was from that influence of those guys with the Cowboys that got me connected with the work that FCA was doing in this area. And, because of Tom Landry, we've had such a strong FCA base here for years and years and years, even after, he's gone. And Rick Bowles is a good friend of mine and is the director of the Greater North Texas FCA. And so my involvement is because of the work that has gone on, not only from a national level, but I'm more familiar with really what goes on from a North Texas area. And so it's a great ministry to kids, to athletes, to coaches, and it filters to the parents. And it makes a huge difference when athletes are trying to walk out their faith, close to the field and in competition.
Texas Ranger catching great Jim Sundberg with this week's Classic Moment. Thank you, Sonny. Hey, get your early bird tickets now before all the tickets are gone to have dinner with Roger Staubach, Bob Lilly, Dan Reeves, and Bob Brunig. It's at the DFW FCA 50th Anniversary Celebration Dinner. Get all the information at dfwfca.org. Coming up next, we'll tell you who the special guest is going to be joining us here on the show next week and who will provide the classic moment. This is the DFW FCA Faith in Sports Radio Show, brought to you by the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic.
Did you know that after a trip to an FCA sports camp in Estes Park, Colorado in 1962, Dallas Cowboys coach Tom Landry felt inspired to use his position as a coach to influence young student athletes. So in 1966, 50 years ago, Coach Landry helped launch the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in Dallas. Hi, I'm Rick Bowles, North Texas Director for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and I'd like to ask you to tell us your FCA story. What impact did FCA have or is currently having on your life? Visit dfwfca.org for more information.
At FCA, we're touching millions one heart at a time. Since 1954, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes has been putting the heart and soul in sports by challenging athletes and coaches to impact the world for Jesus Christ. As the largest sports ministry in the world, FCA now reaches over 2 million people annually on the professional, college, high school, junior high, and youth levels. Through this shared passion for athletics and faith, lives are changed, one heart at a time. Learn more at fca.org.
Here's your chance to join some Texas Ranger Hall of Famers on the links. Pudge, Grieve, and Macklemore will be a part of the festivities October 3rd at the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic. Sounds like a lot of fun, Sonny.
It has been. We've had it for a few years. I had the privilege of Bob Lilly and Scott Murray kind of pass the baton on to me, and I'm glad to be able to take this season of time and do it myself. It's a chance to raise money for the ministry, and obviously we encourage and hope that many will, participate in.
It all happens October 3rd. Go to dfwfca.org for info and registration.
Every morning, around the globe, thousands of FCA staff and volunteers begin a journey like no other.
We are a foot-in-the-door ministry, and we help the church get into places where it can't really go.
We're constantly trying to stay out front and be on the cutting edge.
To me, I don't know of any ministry that has a greater impact on our youth today than FCA.
I think it's more important now than it has ever been.
Yeah, it's relevant.
Get them when they're in elementary school, middle school, all the way up through the professional and adult level, and so few ministries are able to do that.
Never lost sight of their mission, never lost sight of the need to draw people to Christ.
One vehicle that we have in schools is mention the Word of God.
If you look at what you see on TV, all the things, it looks like we're losing. I'm here to say we're not.
He has had his hand of protection on this ministry. It is for this time.
I'm Chris Schneider. Thank you so much for joining us for DFW FCA's Faith in Sports Radio Show, brought to you by the Jim Sundberg Golf Classic. And a reminder, if you are or would like to be an FCA Huddle coach or sponsor, be sure to join us next Sunday, August 14th, for a free FCA North Texas Huddle coach sponsor inspo training event. Former Dallas Cowboy Chad Hennings will be speaking. All the info and registration at dfwfca.org. Our thanks to our special guests, pro golfers Jonathan Byrd and Mark Wilson, and Texas Ranger great Jim Sundberg today. I'm Chris Schneider, the Sports and Spirit Speaker. You can find me at radioactivespeaking.com. Godly messages with stories from the greatest coaches and athletes of all time. Find me, the Sports and Spirit Speaker, at radioactivespeaking.com. In honor of the Olympics, joining us on the show next week will be a North Texas Olympian, Johnny Quinn. Dallas Cowboy three-time Super Bowl winner Chad Hennings will also join us next week. Guests scheduled to join us in future weeks include Roger Staubach, Bob Lilly, Dan Reeves, Mike Singletary, Kyle Rote Jr., and many others. FCA's Faith in Sports is an outreach of DFW Fellowship of Christian Athletes, hosted and produced by me, Chris Schneider. Executive producer is Rick Bowles. For information on DFW FCA, contact Rick at rbowles, that's B-O-W-L-E-S, rbowles at fca.org. And as always, remember this week to do all that you do unto the Lord Jesus Christ. God bless you. From the DFW Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Faith in Sports.